Morning, everyone. It's Friday. Is it the last day of the week? Friday's a kind of special day, isn't it? It's exciting. The weekend's coming, something like that. Even though seeing some of these times we feel like we're running one day into the next. But today I wanted to talk about, because of some of the people I've chatted to this week, I wanted to talk about Two Roads That Diverge in the Woods, which is a poem by Robert Frost. I like that poem, and to be truthful, it's caused me more pain than anything else. Is that you know, so it's about meeting two different paths in the road, or in the woods, which we all come to, and then making a decision. And to make a decision means that you cut off the other alternative. Is that I think of this sometimes when I'm out bike riding, and I've been riding through the bush, and I come to two different tracks, and I've done this a couple of times. I look at the one that goes up a hill, and I look at the easy one, and then I hear friggin' Robert Frost's story about the the two paths diverging. I think I'm going to take the difficult one, and I've rode up a hill, and it's been tough and it's been hard. I've done it one time where I not right up a hill, but I took a really difficult, sketchy track with lots of rocks and bumps and whatever else. One other time I was riding really fast, and I did the same thing. I took the harder track. I feel like I'm ripping myself off from my world if I'm take the easy path. Anyway, one time I did that and come off the bike, and actually broke or fractured two ribs, and hurt my thumb, and I thought, get back on straight away. So I jump back on and I ride back, and another time, same thing. I rode a track, and I was riding really really fast, racing some other friends, and I took the difficult path. Is that and I went over the handlebars. It doesn't sound like I'm a great rider. Anyway, I flew across the handlebars. I had my keys in the back of my jersey, and when I hit the ground, I bruised my kidneys with that. Is that and just a funny story about that. So I went home and I did what they tell you not to, and I googled it all, and Doctor Google said that I could have ruptured my spleen, and anyway, so I went to the hospital, took myself to the hospital, and I remember standing there in emergency, and they said to me, um, yeah, you have to triage, you have to wait a while. And I went back and said, look, I don't mean to be bad, but I'm sweating, and I think I'm going to pass out. Anyway, they come flying out with a trolley and whatever as I went to pass out, and it turned out that yes, I bruised my kidneys, and I was bleeding a little bit from where that, and you know what? I rode the rest of that. That was halfway through the ride, and I kept going to the end. Is it wasn't to the end that I felt the problem, and that's sometimes that's great. Where we've got to be, keep the momentum. Don't stop and feel the pain. Keep the momentum was a great lesson that I've learned there. The funny is, and the same thing when I broke my or fractured two ribs, is that and my thumb, is that I was one third through the track. I kept riding to the end. I got home. I was in a hell of a lot of pain, but I'm happy that I did it. I accomplished it. Is it so? I hear that thing there. I cut off, you know, um, and in the present market, is that we come to points at the moment where we can either take the easy route or we can take the hard route in this environment. And yesterday I had somebody ask me, but there's an opportunity and all of that, and to make money and whatever. And I think to myself, we all could do it with the money. There's no doubt about that. But if you do it for the money, is it going to keep you going when it gets difficult? Is that, or should you do it? The question comes: do you do it for the money, or do you do it for the passion? Is that if my attitude is if you live with the passion, when it gets difficult, you can stay in the game a lot longer. You're not going to throw your cards down. Is that because you have a reason? You're making a difference. I guess that's why I work with the natural refrigerant side. I have a passion. I'm making a difference. I can tell my kids that I is that uh, I wasn't looking at the solution, I was part of the solution. You know, I didn't give the story that was too hard. You know, the other thing that I say to people, and I think I need to fix, is that when people get tough, I say, when it gets tough and people come and talk to me and say to me about the virgins in the road or taking that part, and they come to that point in their life where they're going to make a decision, I always say to them, you know, how terrible would it be when you get to the end of your life and the Lord or the universe or whatever you want to call him, is that this great power hands you an iPad, say, and says, have a look at this video of the man or the person or the woman that you could have been. Is that how far remote are you from that? I think a better way to say it is that when you're at that verge in the middle of the road and have to make the decision where to go, is that you make the pictures on the iPad of the great person that you're supposed to be. So stop, think about what this magical person or amazing person's like. Is that what would they do? What would the greater you do? I always think, what's the greater George about? You know, every day I have an attitude about he does this, he looks like this, he thinks like that. All of these things that I think the wonderful me should be, and he's in this like golden light. And every day when I get dressed and walk out the door, I walk into him and become that. And I want you to think about that. Is that when you're at that point in the road where you've got two options to go from, is that what would the wonderful person, and make that wonderful person be there, you know, go from that side there. So that's my comment about this diversion in the road, or Robert Frost's poem that's caused me so much pain and drives me along in my life. Is that, and the second one is that I say to people, the only way to fail is to quit, period. So when things get tough, all of that, believe me, I've been there. I've been in them dark moments. I've had them days where I want to throw it in, where I want to get a job in Bunnings explaining to people whereabouts the nuts and bolts are, or where they can buy the conduit or brooms or gardening section, you know, is that an easy life. Not that I'm taking anything away from someone in Bunnings, believe me, I've spoken to some great people there, but just to step down, not to take all of these challenges. Is that, through the darkness, and I ask myself this question, is that, what can I say to somebody who's going through those kind of moments? And my comment to that is, or better still, what would I want somebody to say to me? Is that what I'd like them to say to me is quite simple. Just keep going. Or in that Disney show from Dory, just keep swimming. Just keep moving. Is that the world's going to have these ups and downs. There's always going to be these problems. We're all going to have these dark nights, these dark periods. Is that, but you know what? Just keep going. You know, years ago when I was, most of you know, I broke my legs, and in a car accident they rebuilt most of my body. Is that I had to spend a long time in a wheelchair and learning to walk again. My last meeting with my specialist is that he said to me, he said, George, occasionally, he says, you're going to look over your shoulder and you're going to see a problem, some darkness. He said, and you'll have a choice to stop. You've been there. He said, my idea is to look over the other shoulder and to see another person like me saying, keep going, son. Right? Is that rather than just stalling. I want to tell you, yes, if you're going through one of those dark minutes, this is what refines us. Is that, what about if this was meant to be for that wonderful person that we spoke about in the iPad that you had, but the gym, the training, the exercises was the darkness? Is that because every little part that you made over, every little step that you took forward, is that it made you stronger, it made you more resilient, it gave you a better story to tell. The fact of the matter is that we could all live 100, 120 years, is that we could just throw a blanket over you and you don't have to worry about catching COVID or a cold or breaking your ribs coming off a bike or your farm or hurting your kidneys or having a hard time or having all of these, having financial problems or all of that. And you'd probably make it to 120. But if someone come along and said to you, so what did you do? Your life would be blank. It'd be terrible. It's here to live. And living it means going through the pain and the dark times. Just keep moving, my friend. Have a great Friday. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye.